Hello, my name is ledesma,
And I'm Raptus Tony Cainglet.
and we are here to make a discussion about the labor code of the Philippines. So the labor code of the Philippines is a law that governs the employment and labor practices in the Philippines. And today, as we dive into this discussion about the labor code, we will we will base it according to the SWOT analysis. We will identify the strengths of the labor code, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and finally the threats of the labor code or to the labor code. So first is we will elaborate the strengths of the labor code. So first is the Article 22, which is the mandatory remittance of foreign exchange earnings.
Article number 22. It shall be mandatory for all Filipino workers abroad to remit a portion of their foreign exchange earnings to their families, dependents, and beneficiaries in the country in accordance with the rules and regulations prescribed by the Secretary of Labor. So for me, it is a strength because the Filipino because the OFWs will send their money as dollars and convert it into the peso. This will help our economy to trade with other countries.
And that's a strength in the labor code because the exchange of currency is beneficial to our country, and that's how that's also one of the contributions of the OFWs for our country, the peso and dollar or euro exchange. Another one is the Article 28, which is about the capitalization.
So the Article 28, all applicants for the authority to bar or renewal of license to recruit are required to have such substantial capitalization as determined by the Secretary of Labor. So for me, it is one of the strengths because it is a mandatory for the applicants of the authority to hire or renew license to recruit, because this will minimize the illegal recruitment in the Philippines.
And that's also considered as strength, so that it will also protect to protect the Filipinos who are working abroad, right? They protect them because they are recognized by our country that they are indeed people who are working and people who are employed also. And next is the Article 21, which is the Foreign Service role and participation.
So Article 21, to provide ample protection to Filipino workers abroad, the labor attaches, the labor reporting officers duly designated by the Secretary of Labor and the Philippines diplomatic consular officials concerned shall even without prior instruction or advice from the home service exercise the power of duty. So this will help our Filipino where the OFW in the different countries to have the different services offered to them, and the protection that they needed from the threat in the other country.
Yeah, this also this Article 21 also promotes protection for people who are working abroad, and it promotes that they are they have their rights. They have their rights to become immigrants, they have their rights to, they have the right to where they are right now or where they are placed. And next is the weaknesses of the labor code. For the weaknesses, I would consider our Article 26. Article 26.
Article 26, the travel agencies prohibited to recruit. Travel agencies and sales agencies of airline companies are prohibited from engaging in the business of recruitment and placement of workers for overseas employment, whether for profit or not. So this will, this is a weaknesses because I think that they will prohibit the airlines to hire Filipino workers in the other country for the reason that they might be an illegal OFW that will be recruited by the airlines.
Okay. That's yeah, that's important to elaborate, especially on the code, so that so that every employed Filipino will be recognized. The recognition of every Filipino who is working as in travel agencies. Next is also a weakness for the labor code is the Article 92. Article 92 is when employers require work on a rest day.
So Article 92, the employer may require his employees to work on a day in the different situations. For example, if in the case letter A, in the case of actual or impending emergency caused by serious accident, fire, flood, typhoon, earthquake, or epidemic, or other disasters or calamity to prevent loss of lives and property or imminent danger to the public safety. For us, this will be a weaknesses because as a human, we need to have a rest day. So even if it is okay for the person to work on his rest day, if he requires such as a additional payment, of course. So for us, this will be a weakness because not all people will be approved to this kind of situation.
I'd also like to add the work on a rest day. When an employer wants an employee to work on a rest day, there are several reasons why it's valid to work on a rest day. But I think one of the weaknesses of this article is because of the situation that maybe an employee will have an emergency, and then suddenly the employer wants him or her to report on his rest day. So that's like there's a crisis there. And then the next weakness would be the Article 99, which is the regional minimum wages.
So Article 99, regional minimum wages. The minimum wages rates for agriculture and non-agricultural employees and workers in each and every region of the country shall be those prescribed by the regional labor wages and productivity board. So for us, this will be a weakness because in some cases, in a different regions, we could see that they value the skills rather than the actual So there will be different minimum wages, especially on the agriculture, where the fact that, for example, in the rice farming, both farmers were doing their jobs, but they were being paid differently because of the regional status of their minimum wages.
Yeah. It's also a weakness because it does it base its ano is it based on the skills that for the that they have different
Depends on the region, especially here in
Okay.
the Malay, the wages from the agriculture are done to those who have skills where the highest wage is the people with skills, then the low wage was to the agriculture sector.
Oh. So I guess that's it for the weaknesses of the labor code. Next is the opportunities. What are the possible strengths or possibilities that the labor code can do to to employees, to workers. We have the Article 27, which is citizenship requirement.
Articles 27, only Filipino citizens or corporations, partnerships or entities at least 75% of the authorized voting capital stock of which is owned and controlled by Filipino citizens shall be permitted to participate in the recruitment and placement of workers locally or overseas. So this will give us the opportunity as Filipinos because we will be hired between the foreign applicant and Filipino applicant. So Filipino applicant. So this will give the Filipinos an opportunities to be easily hired because of his citizenship.
That's also important to. This also a possible strength because our citizenship can or nationality can be advantageous for other nations because of the, like, for example, if you're a Filipino, then you will then foreign employers would know that okay, Filipinos are hardworking, or Filipinos are this and that, and then on with this citizenship requirement, it will allow them to recognize as well the talent of being a Filipino citizen. Next, another opportunity is the ban on direct hiring, which is Article 18.
Article 18, no employer may hire Filipino workers for overseas employment except through the boards and entities authorized by the Secretary of Labor, direct hiring members of the diplomatic corps, international organizations, and such other employers as may be allowed by Secretary of Labor exempted from this provision. So for us, this will be an opportunity because in some cases there will be a direct hiring because you have a relative or a family member working for a foreign family, and you will be gina-promote ka sa imong family. This will lead into parang ni kuan ka nga wala ka niya sa proseso. So in these cases kung panulitan mo hakuan ka ato pag imo siyang kung nasunod ni siya bali secured ang imo ang passport, imong pagkuan kanang, for example, if na-abuse, then naka-records dito. So it will be easily for you to be rescued than those nga katong ni diretso lang.
Okay. Yeah. I don't have much to add on that. Next is the Article 86, which is the night shift.
Article 86, every employee shall be paid a night shift differential of not less than 10% of its regular wage for each hour of work performed between 10 o'clock in the evening and 6 o'clock in the morning. So this will be an opportunity because there will be a differential, there will be more, it will be added per hour. For example, per hour will be added a 10% of your hourly wages. So this will motivate the employee to work on a night shift. So parang sa mga call center, makainganyo gid nga trabaho diya kay aside from the dagko na siyang sweldo na pag siya additional.
Yeah. But also, it's also considered as an opportunity to have an increase in income, and can heighten the passion of workers as well na to work even more because of this early rate. And that's all for the opportunities of the labor code. Next is the threats towards the labor code of the Philippines. We have the Article 88.
So Article 88, undertime not offset by overtime. Undertime work on any particular day shall not be offset by overtime work on any other day. Permission given to the employee to go on a leave on some other day of the week shall not exempt the employer from paying the additional compensation required in this chapter. So we see it as a threat because, for example, if you have dili mo siya pwede itapal yung mga overtime dito sa imong mga undertime in which na kanang there are some cases na kanang if dili ka mabot 1 hour nga overtime, dili siya matawag og overtime. So if maka-undertime ka og mga 5 minutes or 1, auto na siya mo-deduct sa imong sweldo. Katay yung mga sobrang mga overtime, dili siya pwede itapal dito. So para sa mga threat.
Yeah, it's also a threat because there are people who can, even though they didn't arrive on their scheduled time, they can work fast even with a lack of time. So there are some workers who work fast and there are workers who work slow. So it's somewhat considered as a threat as well. Next is another threat as well is the Article 102, which is the form of payment.
So Article number 102, no employer shall pay the wages of an employee by means of promissory notes, vouchers, coupons, tokens, tickets, checks, or any object other than legal tender, even when expressly requested by the employee. So we see this as a threat because there are some cases na so para dili sila hatag sa imo katong dapat suldohon nimo balay cut off to nila for the other week sa imong pagsuldo. So instead of maghatag sila katong mga voucher and kuan, so ilang excuse is wala siya nakarga sa imo ang kuan sa cut off sa imo ang trabaho. So dito pa siya ma-add sa imo kuan next na payroll.
So yeah, that's also also somewhat a threat towards the employees, towards the employment in the Philippines. And I guess that's all for our discussion. We can, as a whole, the labor code is really the labor code varies in every situation, every detail in the hiring, in your type of work that you're exposed to, but the labor code really has its flaws, and it also has its opportunities and strengths that will protect the workers. And that's all for our discussion on the labor code of the Philippines.
Yeah.